Bonds are a pile of junk that your government needs to unload. I'm going to talk to you today about why this is so and why you should avoid bonds like the plague. Now, people are wondering, why wouldn't I get bonds? They're guaranteed. That's an excellent way for me to keep some savings and I can get the money back later. I'm not looking to be rich. I just want to have some savings. Now, I understand where they're coming from. They just want a nice and easy investment, make a little bit of money that they think that makes up for inflation, but that just isn't the case. Many countries around the world are on the brink of bankruptcy right now. And in fact, if it wasn't for the trillions of dollars that have been spread throughout the economy, they would go bankrupt. But in the next stage of this crisis, we will have bankruptcies in countries and they will default on their loans. This isn't a joke. This is a warning, and I hope you'll listen to me on this one. Take a look at this diagram right here. I'm going to show you where money comes from. Now, many of you watching already know this. However, this would be a good lesson for the introductory. Take a look at this here. This is the Federal Reserve, or any central bank for that matter. This is the printing press, and that's essentially what it's doing. Of course, it's an oversimplified version. They do many more things now. However, they're essentially printing money. Those bills get thrown into the banking system, and then you take out a loan and you use that money to spend on your goods and services. So this is essentially where money comes from. It is actually created out of thin air, and it is loaned to the banks, because it's not just given to the banks, although interest rates are extremely low right now. It is loaned at a profit to the banking system, and then that's why we're consistently in a state of perpetual debt. Okay, that is the introductory lesson there on where money comes from. So why can't a bond be a good investment? And the truth is that it really is too dangerous to put your money into any paper assets right now. I'm going to go through with you how exactly the Fed runs its operation, its scheme right now. Take a look at this diagram here. And by the way, all of these diagrams are from the Money GPS, my book. Make sure that you go down below to click through that, flip through it, and see if you like it. This is the Federal Reserve and their schemes. So you have the US and the Fed, and the US gives bonds to the Fed, and then the Fed gives money back to it. So it prints money out of thin air to then buy its bonds. But what happens to all these IOUs? Well, they're just collected in a pile, and the Fed's balance sheet continues to rise and rise and rise. But what exactly is a bond? I mean, what really is a bond? Nobody really ever gets into that. They're just thinking it's a guaranteed investment by my government. But let's take a look in this diagram right here what exactly a bond is. And of course, an oversimplified version. So that pile of debt that I was talking about, the government has that pile of debt. They're going to package it up in a nice little present, put a little bow on top of it, and then they sell it as a bond. And of course, in this diagram, it's just a 10-year bond as an example. That's really what it is. They've taken all their IOUs, they put a little nice pretty bow on it, called it something a bond, and then they sell it to an individual, to a bank, to anyone. And that is what they think is a good investment. If you can make any sense of this, I'd really like to know, because this is someone else's garbage trying to pass off as a gem, and I'm not buying it. I don't want any of this garbage, and neither should you. We need things that are real and tangible and things that cannot default. So what is it exactly that I dislike about paper investments? I'll get into this right now in this diagram. Now this is, once again, an oversimplified version, but take a look at the $100 bill in these three different eras. So you had the 1900, you could buy a car with that $100 bill. And in 1950, maybe you can get a motorcycle. In the year 2000, you're getting nothing but a bus pass. Now, if you look at that dollar, that $100 bill, it still says $100, and yet it buys less and less over time. So if you think that a paper investment or cash denominated assets are a good investment, I have to disagree entirely, because historically their dollar value, actually the goods that they buy, how much stuff that they will buy, decreases year over year unequivocally. So when you say what should you put your money into, the very first thing I will tell you, this is in a consultation environment. When I tell somebody, where do I put my money? Well, I'll tell them, first, take your money out of the paper system, because this system will fail. It is failing already. How much further do you want it to go down? We need to invest our money in the things that are real. I get into this very deeply into my book, The Money GPS. Check it out, as I said. If you want more of this type of information where I expand on it further, it is at the Money GPS Insiders, and that is at themoneygps.com. At the bottom, you fill in your email address, and you will get occasional emails from me breaking stuff like this down. I hope that you'll join the hundreds on there that I've already got on there with the positive reviews coming in, and I'm very grateful for all of those. If you like this type of video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you soon.